Welcome back to another video. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. A huge game for Tottenham Hotspur today in the Premier League at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium as we host Burnley. Tottenham are currently sat in 10th place in the Premier League. Arsenal are now winning 2-1 at half-time at Leicester City. They are now sat in 9th place. We've lost our last 5 out of 6 Premier League games. I've got last word on Spurs host Ricky Sacks with me. Ricky, we're going to react to the lineup that is going to come out in a couple of minutes. But how are you feeling ahead of this game against Burnley today?
Yeah, probably the same, because I felt over the last few weeks extremely nervous. Listen, we shouldn't be extremely nervous at home to Burnley. We shouldn't be. But the nature of Tottenham's results in the Premier League simply haven't been good enough. And, we need to get back to winning ways today. I think Spurs have got any aspirations whatsoever to be a club that's challenging for Europe. I won't say Champions League, because people probably start laughing at me at the moment, the way we're playing. We need to get in that top 6. So, a massive game today. Burnley won't make it easy. It was a tough reverse fixture up there. I know many people were kind of, in a way, obviously delighted to see us that win, rounded out win. Many people I know weren't happy about the style of football on that day. At that time, Spurs were flying high towards the top of the Premier League. I think we're so rosy in the space of 4 or 5 months. My God, how football can change. And, we find ourselves mid-table. And pretty much that's where we are, mid-table and rightly. You've got to be able to say that, in terms of the way we're playing. Players' confidence seems on the floor at the moment. I mean, I know you can look at the Europa League results, but let's be honest about it. The teams we're facing in the Europa League at the moment, they have no great pedigree. Obviously, we've got a double-legged fixture to come against Dynamo Zagreb. That won't be easy. I think they're playing so well. And I think, like Mark says there, if we lose questions, if we lose today, questions must be asked. I think questions should already be asked anyway. Tottenham should not be, mid-table in the Premier League. It certainly shouldn't be, below Arsenal at the moment, given Arsenal's result, Arsenal's score at the moment. So today's a massive day for Tottenham in terms of trying to get the Premier League form back on track. I was going as far as to say that I think today's the biggest game Jose Mourinho in charge of Tottenham. I do honestly believe that. I know people will laugh at me saying, well, hold on, we've got a cup final to come in a couple of months. Will he get that cup final if Tottenham don't win their Premier League games? And I think, as we've always said, it's a bold requirement to get the top 4. And that is slipping away week by week in the Premier League. If you're going to put all your eggs in the Europa League basket, that's a lot to contend with. So, massive game for Tottenham today in the Premier League. And obviously, we're trying on this team needs to come through in the next minute or so.
Ricky, we say that, a huge game. We say that every week about huge games for Spurs. But when we've lost 5 out of our last 6 in the Premier League, if Tottenham don't get the 3 points today, then, what happens next? Because we're drifting down. We're currently sat here talking to you. We are in 10th place in the Premier League. Arsenal are now above us. I know it's half time in that game against Leicester, but Tottenham has slipped down to being mid-table. And like you've just said there, it is a bold requirement to finish in the top 4. Maurizio Pochettino got the sack for not finishing, or the board felt that he weren't going to finish in the top 4. Jose Mourinho come in. For you, if Tottenham don't win today, what happens next?
I just think for Spurs at the moment, the issue they've got is that there's not a ready-made replacement out there to come and take over from Jose mid-season. I think the problem is that, if Jose Mourinho wasn't here, we'd all be saying that's the man that we want Tottenham to go in and point because we want to win trophies. I think, you couldn't have imagined how far we would have fallen in terms of the Premier League really over the last year or two. Even with Pochettino, that last season towards the end, I think it was very well known that, he lost that dressing room. Players didn't no longer believe in that project. There had to be a change. You have to question whether Jose was the right man. And I think, Tadarius to do that says there must-win game today. Let's do this. Vincent says, do you think Bale and Dele will start? I think, I think that would be a massive confidence lift. If we saw both of them in the starting lineup, I might be wrong. The team is going to come through any second now. I'd be surprised if they both start Tottenham.
I agree.
Having said that, that would give the fans a massive lift to see them both in the team. So, as I said, I would go on and say this is probably one of Jose Mourinho's biggest games in charge of Tottenham because he needs to win it. He needs to get the Premier League form back on track. And, the recent form, the Premier League form, as I don't need to tell, as fans already know, we've been an absolute freefall. We really have. So, there's pressure on today, especially if Arsenal do go on to win against Leicester, where, again, the nature of what Arsenal season has been like, for Tottenham to be below them in the Premier League, that just tells you what a freefall Tottenham have had in this last 3 or 4 months.
Ricky, the team has just been announced. Dele Alli is on the bench. Gareth Bale is starting. Exactly what I thought. And what you said as well. Hugo Lloris in goal, obviously our captain. Sergio Aurier at right back. Davinson Sanchez, Toby Alderweireld, and Sergio Reguilon at left back. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, Tanguy Ndombele, Lucas Moura, Gareth Bale, Heung-min Son, and Harry Kane. Now, what do you make of that starting 11?
Well, listen, I'm absolutely delighted to see Gareth in that starting lineup. I'm just looking at it right here. I think, that's a big lift for Tottenham. No matter what, I think, as I said to you a second ago, I think it would have been very, very strange to see them both starting, both Gareth Bale and Dele Alli. I think that's a massive to see Gareth Bale in that starting lineup. I mean, he's been brilliant in the last few weeks. We've seen his upturn in form. So I generally think seeing Gareth Bale in that starting lineup is a massive, massive plus. No matter what you say, it truly, truly is. So on that basis, I honestly think that's a big, big lift.
Surely we will see Dele Alli come on in the second half, though, Ricky, won't we? Because, as a Tottenham fan, and I know I've said on the Last Word on Spurs show many, many times about Dele Alli, it's so good to see Dele Alli back in the frame and doing what we know he can do. After 10 minutes in that Wolfsburg game midweek in the Europa League, that fantastic overhead kick, fantastic to see him back, isn't it?
Oh, it is indeed. Yeah, it massively is to see him back in the fold. I mean, listen, I'm sure Dele will be very disappointed that he hasn't started today, because I think with anything, like I say, it's one of those where Dele needs games for me to get into a rhythm. Dele was at his best when he was playing week in, week out, and he was also one of those players where it's a case where you have to give a player game time available to him to see the best out of him, and he just simply hasn't had that game time yet. And I think it's one of those where when we do see his game time, then that'll be a different story. So I honestly think, once Dele gets that regular amount of game time, we'll see the best of Dele Alli for sure.
Just to go through the substitute bench, we've got Joe Hart, Eric Dyer, Matt Doherty, Ben Davies, Harry Winks, Musa Sissoko, Dele Alli, Eric Lamela, and Carlos Vinicius. Ricky, what have you made of Carlos Vinicius so far in a Tottenham shirt?
Carlos Vinicius, he's got a really, really good goal scoring record, but I think you also have to judge it upon the teams that he's faced. And I think Spurs, come the summer, I think they will still be looking, I believe, to go and get, I would say, maybe a more proven English centre forward. I think Danny Ings is one I'll definitely look to revisit come the summer. But I can't sit here and say Vinicius has been bad. I think outside the box it's questionable. Inside the box, look at his goal scoring record. It's been a decent goal scoring record, and for a guy that hasn't had many games to prove himself, can't ask any more than what he's done. I really honestly believe that.
Ricky, in the last 8 Premier League games for Spurs, the only teams that we have beaten, West Bromwich Albion and Sheffield United, both in the bottom 3. Now, why do you think Tottenham has struggled so much of late in the Premier League? And how do Tottenham and Jose Mourinho turn this around? Because I know we've said at the start of this video that it is a must-win game today. But, you've said it's probably Jose Mourinho's biggest game at Spurs so far. 3 points is an absolute must, nothing less.
No, I mean, listen, I think today if he doesn't get 3 points, then I think everyone's got the right to ask questions. You've got to look at where Burnley are in the Premier League and what Tottenham are aiming for generally in aspirations. If he does not win today, massive, massive pressure. I mean, Tyron says they're good lineups, they got it right. Listen, I think we'll only know that. We'll only know if he's got it right on full time. I think, listen, absolutely delighted to see Gareth Bale start. I think you've got to say that that's such a plus for Tottenham. There will be some people that will feel disappointed that Dele Alli is not in that starting lineup. The defence, we always have got concerns, Andrew. Is our defence good enough on the whole? It's not. We know that in general. I think Spurs really missed out in the summer of not going to get Milan Skriniar. I think when you read between the lines now, Mourinho knew that's what Tottenham really needed. Gareth Bale, it seems to be the case, was more of a Daniel Levy signing. What we're led to believe Vinicius was, Mourinho's choice. Matt Doherty, another one where it hasn't quite worked for him yet. I just think, for Spurs at the moment, they're having to ride themselves through to the end of the season, see where they can finish. But I mean, the cup competitions, as you know, they're so important to the club this season. That Europa League is so important. And that's why personally, I think Chris Mourinho is also still here as well, because he does have the knowledge and the tactical know-how to get Tottenham to a final and to win trophies.
Ricky, there's quite a lot of comments coming in here about the back 4. Of course, back 4 today, Serge Aurier, Davinson Sanchez, Toby Alderweireld and Sergio Reguilon. Now, Jose Mourinho has changed the back 4 a number of times during this season. What do you make of today's back 4, and why do you think that he's gone for them 4?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm just looking at the team here. Am I surprised again to see, that back 4? I'm not, because I think the problem we've got at the moment is, Chris, that he doesn't trust his team, no matter who he picks. And I'm looking at the team now again, Aurier, Sanchez, Alderweireld, Reguilon. I mean, listen, Alderweireld, it's been so bizarre with him. I've got to be honest with you, to not see him feature regularly for me, I still think he's probably our centre back. Having said that, I think it's also clear that he's lost a yard of pace. I think Sanchez at the moment, Sanchez's best season when he had Jan Vertonghen next to him. He had a real commanding leader, someone that could read the game really well. There's no surprise that since Vertonghen's left the club, and you've seen Sanchez's performance go down. And I know what obviously the Welsh guy says there about Rodon. I mean, for me, I would have liked to see Rodon being given more minutes. I think he's a young kid. I think at the end of the day, he's only going to improve with game time. So I'm disappointed to not see him in the team. Sergio Aurier, I mean, it's the.
Well, Rick, Rodon's not even on the sub bench either. Are you surprised by that? Well,
again, I think you look at that suspension at the moment, who's he sacrificing? If he's going to bring Rodon in, is he going to leave, Dele off that, Lamela off that, Vinicius off that, Sissoko, Winks, he's only going to really pick, 3 defenders on there. He's picked by Doherty and Davis. And those 3 have also been predominantly featuring in the team as well. So that just tells you at the moment the nature of his back four, where to be honest, Chris, teams that are successful are all built on a solid back four, and Tottenham have not had that all season. So to try and guesswork what he's doing now, difficult. Really, really is difficult.
Ricky, are you confident for a win today?
Chris, I don't remember the last time that I was confident for a Tottenham win in the Premier League.
Actually, let me give you a stat. The last time that Burnley won, and perhaps I'm wrong in saying this, the last time that Burnley won at Tottenham Hotspur in a league game was back in 1974.
Listen, the way it's been this season, records are there to be broken. And, I hate to say it, Mourinho's breaking all unwanted records at the moment. Having said that, I do think Tottenham will get the result today. Not because I think there's going to be a massive revival. I think Burnley being Burnley and the quality Tottenham have got on that pitch, Gareth Bale now as well, to add a bit more of an injection into the team, a bit more confidence. Listen, I'm hoping Tottenham will win. I expect them to win. If they don't win, then, as the guy said earlier, massive questions do have to be asked, because Spurs, it's a must-win game. It's a must-win.
Ricky, what's your score prediction? I'm going to go for 2-0.
I'd love to be as brave as you. I'm going for 2-1. I think we will have a nervy end to this game. I don't see it being as clear as what people are saying 3-0. I think Spurs, you've got to look at our goals, our goal scoring nature in the Premier League. We haven't been scoring freely for fun in the Premier League really for a while. So I see it being a very, very tight game. I think the key for Spurs is that if we're in a position where in the 60th minute and it's still 0-0, you have to keep calm and remain patient, because it's one of those games where you have to manage it correctly. If you go too gung-ho, you could lose it. So it really is about managing the game, even if you aren't winning, say, at half-time or in the early stages of the second half, managing the game correctly. Yeah.
Ricky, lastly, I know whenever we talk, and it's quite a lot, we always talk about trophies, about Tottenham winning trophies. Of course, we're in one cup final already this season against Manchester City, Wembley on the 25th of April in the League Cup. But the Europa League draw took place a couple of days ago. Dynamo Zagreb in the last 16. How confident are you for Spurs to get through to that and perhaps go to the final in the Europa League?
Yeah, someone told me actually a stat the other day. I think it's from a Croatian. It was a Croatian knowledgeable guy who told me that I think they're unbeaten at the moment, Dynamo Zagreb, in the Croatian league. I might be wrong. I might have got that slightly wrong, but I think they're in really good form at the moment. So again, that won't be an easy game. Listen, it's not a bad tie for Tottenham. I think if you look at the teams they could have faced, it's one of the more plausible, decent ones. I expect Spurs to go through. I do. I think because where we are now in that stage of the Europa League. I tell you what, I mean, results, performances, so hard at the moment to find some rhythm with Tottenham. We need to go on a run. We've got some really good fixtures now in the Premier League coming up where we should try and accumulate a run together, and that starts with today. See how I dodged that, Chris?
Well, do you know what? I was so pleased that I know it was the lowest ranked team in Wolfsburger, in the Europa League. But the performance is exactly what all of us Tottenham fans needed. I'm sure it is what exactly Jose Mourinho and the players needed as well. But going into this game, I think that this could be a real turning point. And of course, we face Fulham next in the Premier League on Thursday. We need to start stringing some results together now and going up that league table. But if Jose Mourinho doesn't get that top 4 place in the Premier League this season, which a lot of people are saying looks very doubtful at the moment, surely the Europa League is the only route to Champions League football next season. If we fail in the Premier League.
Yeah, this is the thing, isn't it? I mean, it depends at what point you start to gamble all in one competition, because if you don't win today, and I don't want to say that we won't win, but if we don't win today, and I mean at the moment already, the top 4. It's starting to look beyond us, but the 12th man makes a great point there. 9 points this week. that puts us in a great position. I mean, it's one thing doing it, it's one thing saying, it's another thing doing it. 9 points would be absolutely amazing. But if you look at Tottenham's form guide in the Premier League over the last 5-6 weeks, there's a lot of red there, unfortunately. We never like seeing red. And Jamie Redknapp, Jamie Redknapp. Listen, Jamie Redknapp, we've got to remember about Jamie is Kev. His dad got the boot, but his dad also, was playing with that England job for a long, long time. And Jamie, for some reason, cannot let that go. I don't know what the reason is behind that, but whenever he's got the chance to have a dig at Tottenham, have a dig. So, Kev, what can we do? It's Jamie Redknapp. I think he'll always be that way, no matter who's in charge, whether it's Mourinho, whether it's Nagelsmann, whether it's, Glenn Hoddle. I think, there'll always be a little bit of needle there because of the way his dad left Tottenham.
Do you know what, though, Rick? There is so much expectation on Tottenham from us Tottenham fans in particular, but the pundits do love to jump on us. In particular, when we've lost 5 out of 6 Premier League games, every pundit's going to jump on us saying we're underperforming. And they're right to an extent, aren't they?
Of course, yeah, they most certainly are. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, isn't it, where pundits, I think with Tottenham, we are always an easy opportunity to, take a go at. I do honestly believe that. I think with Spurs in the past, Roy Keane absolutely loves it. The problem is, Chris, do you know what it is? We give them the reason to have a go at us. It's the case that, if we are performing, no one can say anything negative about us. But, when we're in a run that we're on, we're critical. So how can we expect pundits not to be critical? I think also we fall into that trap of also thinking it's just us. There also are other clubs out there that also are criticised. Liverpool are massively criticised at the moment. Look at Liverpool. They won the Premier League last season. United are always under pressure because Solskjaer's there. Chelsea just went for a change of manager. But I agree with Jack, like he says there. There can be no excuses whatsoever today. Tottenham have to win. If they don't win, my God, I do fear what social media is going to be like. The problem you got, Chris, as at the moment is, and you go home week in, week out, there's no barometer at the moment to tell what it's like in that stadium because fans aren't in. I think the key will be, and it'll be a long time, I still think, before we get to that full capacity in that stadium. It will only be at that point we can tell whether what the situation is like in terms of Mourinho with fans. But I think at the moment, if you judge it on social media, which is always a difficult thing to do with social media, trying to judge the fan base on there, it seems like there's a lot of pressure on Jose Mourinho. A lot from the fans, and some fans just don't believe that we will get through it. Some fans just think the style of football is just not suitable for Tottenham anymore. It's just a whole range of different feelings and opinions when it comes to Jose Mourinho, from the style of football to the results to winning trophies. Some people would think we're absolutely crazy to even consider sacking this guy when he hasn't properly been backed in their opinion. Get the players that he wants. I keep seeing that a lot of people say, look, get him the players that he wants, and then let's see what he can do. I think it's very clear that he wanted that centre-back in the summer. If he had got that Milan Skriniar, how different would it be? We can't answer that question. And what I will say is that, listen, he's got Joe Rodon. I know he's limited to where he can use him. And that's why I'm surprised that we haven't seen more of him in the Premier League, because I'm not sitting here saying that Joe Rodon's the next Paolo Maldini. I'm saying that what we've seen so far in terms of the players that he's tried week in, week out, he hasn't found a partnership that's been suitable. So it's up to him to do that. He's on a lot of money a year to find a solution. And that starts with today.
Rick, how are you feeling about Jose Mourinho yourself? Because you know from the conversations we've had in the past, I'm firmly sat on the fence right now. I don't think that, there's so many pros and cons to Jose Mourinho being our manager. But if Jose Mourinho and Spurs do not get a result today, then what? How are you feeling about it? Because if you go on social media, like you say, it is very, very mixed. Lots of people are defending Jose. Lots of people saying they want him out. How are you feeling about it?
I mean, as I've said to you previously, Chris, I think, the question I always ask is, can another manager get more out of this group of players? That's the question I ask. And what I will say is that over the last few weeks, I can't sit here and say they're not playing for him, because they are. We are still seeing the same individual errors made week in, week out. Now, Pochettino as a coach, he coached players to be better than what they were. Can Mourinho do that with some of these players, or is he there more? I say Mourinho, more with Mourinho for me as a manager. He's more psychologically into the players, how to get results, how to get over the line. For me, he's not there to try and bring players on from a coaching aspect. So this is a very, very difficult decision. Tottenham, I think Daniel Levy will give it as long as possible for Mourinho to get it right. This is his appointment. Remember this. This is the man that Daniel Levy wanted. This isn't just, a pick of the ball. This was Daniel Levy's very own man. And And I think, as we've seen this week, I think he's under Daniel's spell, or Daniel's under Mourinho's spell. I think, he will be given the time to turn it around. I will be surprised if he is not here come the end of the season, because, as I've said, there is not a ready-made alternative. And I think, who do you want, no matter what happens where we are going in the league, who do you want taking you into 2 cup finals? You probably say Jose Mourinho. You're not going to get Guardiola. You're not going to get Jurgen Klopp. But who's out there that's going to get you to 2? People might say, listen, the way we're playing, we're not going to win a cup final. I agree. But on a one-off occasion, who do you want managing in a cup final? You'd probably say Jose Mourinho, as crazy as that sounds with our Premier League form. Yeah, I mean, as I said to you, the options that Spurs seem to want, they like Nagelsmann, it seems. He's not going to leave RB Leipzig mid-season, which again means that you're going to have to probably wait until the end of the season to revisit that. And I think also Mourinho's contract, you keep hearing these reported fees of, it's between 15 million to 18 million. Spurs are already dealing with the COVID pandemic in terms of trying to deal with that, in terms of the transfers that they've spent money on as well. They haven't got the money coming from the stadium. That's why, really, Chris, I think the club in a real rock and a hard place. I can't see anything happening imminently unless there was to be, some kind of mutual decision where Mourinho walks away. But I don't think Mourinho will walk away, because where else is his next job's going to be in England? He's already managed Man United. He's already managed Chelsea. He's not going to go manage Arsenal. He's not going to go manage Liverpool, I don't think. So apart from Tottenham, where else does he go? He only goes down the pyramid. Everton, they're doing well with Ancelotti. Leicester seem happy with Brendan Rodgers. Wolves have got, Espirito Santos. So I don't think really Mourinho's going to walk away. I don't think Tottenham in a financial situation to let him go. And that's what I mean. It's a very difficult decision that Tottenham find themselves in. Hopefully we win today, and that kind of dampens that quiet talk for another couple of weeks.
Ricky, there's a point on screen for you saying that the Jose meltdown can wait until the end of the season. Backline has been bad for 3 years. He needs one more summer. Now, do you think that he's going to get the one more summer? Because, looking now, Arsenal are now 3-1 up at Leicester. And, can you remember, a couple of months back, Tottenham Hotspur was sat top of the Premier League. Arsenal were near the relegation zone. All of us were laughing. And now, today, they go above us, before we go into this Tottenham v Burnley game, which makes it even more important for us.
Yeah, I think, like I say, I think what's been saving people going full tilt is that Arsenal are below us. If that also changes, then expect the mood to even become more toxic. I'm out of pains, really, to sit here and say, how other clubs are going to dictate what Tottenham do. Having said that, I think Arsenal go above us generally. Then, oh my God, I mean, it's even tough as it is at the moment watching it. To think that they're going to go above us as well, with a North London derby also on the horizon. I mean, the pressure that goes into that game, if we're going into that game below them as well,
Actually, Rick, let me put a positive spin on this, because I want to be positive about Tottenham. And I know whenever I come on your show, Last Word on Spurs, we try and remain positive as much as we can about Now, if we win today and we win on Thursday against Fulham, we've got to turn this around. And if we do turn this around, then, the likes of Lo Celso are going to come back soon as well. Gareth Bale, in good form. Dele Alli now back in good form as well. So there are a lot of positives in this next couple of weeks if we win these 2 games this week.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I know you want me to sit here and the thing is, I can't be ultra confident at the moment. I've got to be honest with you, Chris. I want to be ultra confident. I'll be lying to you. I'll be lying to the people that are tuning into this feed as well. If I sat here and said I'm going to believe we're going to get 9 points, I just think at the moment Spurs need to take game by game. I don't think you can sit here and say look at 9 points. I think Spurs have got to go game by game at the moment. Win today, prepare for Fulham. We've got to say Fulham were the same team that came to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and played us off the park. And we're very unlucky, I think, on the day to not walk away with the 3 points. I've got to be honest with you. So at the moment, the way I want to look at it, Chris, for me, game by game, win today, and see where we are Thursday and go from there. And I think it's too far forward to start looking at 9 points at the moment. As much as I'd love to, our form is, it's not good enough to be sitting there and being able to project a points accumulation as where we are.
Yeah. Ricky, I could talk to you all day about Tottenham. Thank you very much for your time, and let's hope that Tottenham get the win. It don't matter what score it is, 1-0, 7-6, whatever it is. We'll take anything. The 3 points today is an absolute must. Ricky, thank you very much indeed, and come on, you Spurs.
Yeah, agree. Listen, Chris, as always, thanks so much. Fingers crossed we do get back to winning ways. I love being positive about Tottenham. It's just very hard at the moment. I'm sure your listeners feel the same. We just want to try and reflect the true picture as well. Like I said, fingers crossed the next time I talk to you, it's 3 points in the bag.
Exactly right. Ricky, thank you very much. Cheers.
Pleasure.